Hey, friends! This time we're looking at another pseudoscience documentary. These things are always fun. This one is The Legend of Loch Ness from 1976. I love these things. One of my viewers, Matthew, suggested this one. I found it on YouTube, but it was a really crappy copy, so instead I got hold of this here DVD, which has a much cleaner print, and it has another movie about Atlantis. That one isn't as good, but maybe we'll talk about that one another time. Anyway, The Legend of Loch Ness. What's it about? Well, everyone's favorite plesiosaur, Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster, obviously. This movie was made during the so-called Year of Loch Ness, when the scientific community, or at least researchers, descended on Loch Ness in a full-court press to determine if the Loch Ness Monster was really there or not. They used cameras, divers, a submarine, sonar scans, and other specialized equipment to scour the loch for any definitive, legit proof or sign that Nessie was real. Here's a hint. They're still looking. The most famous picture of Nessie is this one, supposedly taken by a vacationing doctor. But the truth is, it was totally fake, and the hoaxsters even admitted it. But this is still the go-to image for everyone when they think about the Loch Ness Monster. But when you look at it, it's kind of obviously fake. See, I love me some Gerry Anderson, and Gerry Anderson was no fool. He worked with small-scale miniatures in almost all of his shows, and he always said the hardest thing to capture, the hardest thing to get right, was fire and water, because they don't scale well with miniatures. The waves here give it away. This was really a model submarine with the neck and head molded out of clay and wood putty. And yeah, when you see the wide shot of this picture, it kind of gives it away. The waves give it away. This thing's only about 2 feet long. Hardly a monster. But still, it's an iconic image though, isn't it? If only they could have figured out a way to monetize it. Anyway, over the course of the picture, we hear from several Nessie researchers, both the sincere as well as the sketchy. We see footage of mysterious wakes, and we hear from witnesses who claim to have seen something in the loch. Along the way, the history and legends of the area and the efforts to study the loch during this period are documented. The movie was narrated by Arthur Franz. Now, we last saw him in Flight to Mars, but he was in a ton of stuff, including the Caine Mutiny, Invaders from Mars, and The Atomic Submarine. Here, he provides a stalwart, tough guy voice as narrator. They do talk to a real scientist, though. This guy, Dr. Robert Lavenberg, who worked at the Los Angeles County Museum of Natural History in their fish department. He was a totally legit researcher and scientist. Franz asks leading, almost hostile questions via voiceover. Obviously, that was edited in later. Well, to his eternal credit, Lavenberg doesn't take any of the cryptozoology bait, keeping his observations and surmises strictly on a scientific footing. There is some tell and not show here, like they say there are these mysterious caves beneath the ruins of this castle, but they never show them. And this kelp here, does that actually grow in Loch Ness? Looks like ocean kelp to me, but I don't know. But this movie's biggest claim to fame is that it purports to show footage of Nessie never before seen. Unlike most footage, which is above the water, this was underwater, and we can see a flipper pass by the camera. but this is so vague it could be anything. It could be a close-up of a whale at SeaWorld for all we know. And is this it? This is all the footage they caught? It's rather dubious, and like most of the claims made in pseudoscience, it's never been followed up. For a reason. I didn't hate the movie though. Like I say, I love these things. They're a hoot. I'm giving The Legend of Loch Ness 2¼ paws up. This one does have a charm factor, and it does cover the history of Nessie sightings and the attempts to do real research on the monster, but it also delves a bit into faker territory. Still, Lavenberg leavens the fakery with a legit scientific perspective. This one is well worth a watch if, like me, you love these old school mysteries of the unknown pseudoscience documentaries. You can see my review of Sasquatch, The Legend of Bigfoot, here. And down there, you can see more reviews of movies about the unexplained. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.